Every lawyer's career looks different. Some start as associates in large firms, aiming for the partner track. Others move in house, becoming corporate counsel or even general counsel of a multinational company. Some prefer the courtroom, building a career as a barrister or trial lawyer. In today's global market, it is not enough just to follow a path. You must also explain it. Whether at a job interview, a networking event, or an international conference, you'll need the English to describe your role, your progression, and your goals clearly. In this lesson, we will explore how to talk about legal career paths and professional roles in English, the kind of language that shows ambition, direction, and professionalism. And that's exactly what we'll practice today. And if you want to take this further, practicing career conversations, preparing for interviews, connecting with a global network of lawyers, join our legal English community. The link is in the description. By the end of today's lesson, you'll be able to describe legal careers and professional roles with clarity and confidence. We'll begin with vocabulary, terms that help you identify and explain key positions in law, from associates and barristers to in-house counsel and general counsel. Then we'll look at grammar. You'll use future forms like will, going to, might, and plan to. Structures that let you talk about your career goals, ambitions, and possible changes. Next, we'll strengthen your fluency with idiomatic expressions lawyers use when discussing ambition and growth. Phrases like climb the ladder, carve out a niche, change gears, and at the top of your game. Finally, you'll apply all of this in professional scenarios, explaining your career path, comparing legal systems, and evaluating roles in a way that shows professionalism. This lesson is about more than vocabulary. It's about telling your legal career story in English with confidence. Let's begin with the story of two lawyers who graduate from the same law school. The first joins a large international firm as an associate. Her path is clear: long hours, steady promotion, and the hope of eventually making partner. She explains her career by saying, I'm on the partner track in corporate law. I specialize in cross-border transactions. The second lawyer takes a different route. After a few years in private practice, he joins a multinational company as in-house counsel. His language is different. I moved in-house to focus on compliance and risk management. I now advise one client, the business itself. Both paths are prestigious, but they require different vocabulary and different ways of presenting your role. So here's the question for you. Which career path would you prefer? Partner track at a firm or in-house counsel for a company? And how would you describe that choice in English? In most large law firms, new lawyers begin as associates. This role is often the starting point of a career in private practice. Imagine a young lawyer fresh out of law school. She joins a large firm as a litigation associate. She spends her first years researching cases, drafting motions, and working under senior partners. She explains her role by saying, I'm an associate in the litigation team. I focus on preparing case strategy and supporting partners in trial work. The associate role is demanding but offers growth. It is also closely linked with the idea of partner track. If the lawyer performs well, she may eventually be invited to become a partner. Some key collocations include junior associate, senior associate, associate position in corporate law. For lawyers, this word is more than a job title. It signals stage of career, workload, and ambition. In professional English, saying, I'm an associate, places you clearly on the legal career ladder. In large law firms, many associates aim for the partner track. This is the structured career path that leads to partnership, where a lawyer shares ownership of the firm and takes part in its profits. Picture an associate who has worked tirelessly for years. Her supervisors recognize her potential and tell her, you are now on the partner track. From that moment, her role changes. She is expected not only to handle cases, but also to attract clients, manage teams, and think like an owner. The partner track is competitive. Not all associates make it. Some step off the track by moving in house or changing careers. But in professional English, saying I'm on the partner track shows commitment and recognition within the firm. You'll hear things like on the partner track, fast track to partnership, or leave the partner track. For lawyers, this phrase captures both opportunity and pressure. It signals a career defined not only by legal skill, but also by business development and leadership. Not all lawyers stay in private practice. Many move into business as in house counsel, lawyers who advise one client only, the company that employs them. Imagine a lawyer who has worked as an associate in a firm for several years. She enjoys corporate law, but wants a closer connection to business decisions. She takes position as in house counsel at a technology company. Now she says, I no longer represent multiple clients. I advise one client, my company, on contracts, compliance, and risk. The role is different from firm life, less focus on billing hours, more on supporting business strategy. Instead of going to court, in-house counsel prevent problems before they happen. They become trusted advisors within the organization. You'll hear things like corporate in-house counsel, chief in-house counsel, move in-house. For lawyers, using this phrase precisely shows you understand one of the most common career transitions in global legal practice. In some legal systems, the profession is divided between solicitors and barristers. Barristers specialize in courtroom advocacy, giving expert legal opinions and arguing before judges in higher courts. Imagine a young lawyer in London. She completes her bar training, joins a set of chambers, and begins her career as a barrister. Her daily work is different from that of an associate in a firm. She doesn't manage client relationships directly, but is instructed by solicitors to argue cases in court. In conversation, she might say, I practice as a barrister. My focus is appellate advocacy and commercial litigation. The word barrister signals expertise in advocacy and cross examination, specialist legal opinions, representation in higher courts, and you'll hear phrases such as train as a barrister, practicing barrister, barrister chambers. For advanced legal English, this term is essential, especially when comparing legal roles across jurisdictions. It helps you explain how professional paths differ between common law and civil law systems. In England and Wales, many lawyers work as solicitors. Unlike barristers, solicitors handle the client relationship directly. They advise on contracts, property, employment disputes, or regulatory issues. And when a case goes to higher court, they often instruct a barrister to represent the client. Picture a solicitor in a city law firm. She meets with corporate clients, drafts complex agreements, negotiates settlements, and prepares documents. When litigation arises, she instructs a barrister, we need you to argue this case in the high court. Solicitors are known for their broad advisory role, managing cases from start to finish. Key phrases include practicing solicitor, solicitor-client relationship, law firm solicitor. For advanced legal English, the distinction between barrister and solicitor is crucial. It allows you to explain roles within common law systems and compare them to unified professions in civil law jurisdictions. At the top of the in-house career path is the general counsel, sometimes called the chief legal officer. This role is not about just giving legal advice. It's about strategy, leadership, and managing an entire legal department. Imagine a lawyer who began as an associate in private practice, moved in-house as corporate counsel, and rose through the ranks. 10 years later, she sits at the executive table as general counsel of a multinational. She explains, I advise the board on legal risk, oversee litigation worldwide, and manage a global team of lawyers. The position signals authority and responsibility, managing compliance and risk, advising the board of directors, coordinating external law firms. Key phrases you'll hear are appointed general counsel, serve as general counsel, office of the general counsel. For legal English, this term shows how legal careers intersect with business leadership. Saying, I serve as general counsel, places a lawyer at the very center of corporate decision making. When lawyers talk about their futures, they often describe their career trajectory. This phrase doesn't just mean a single job, it means the long term direction of your career, the path you followed, and where it is heading. Imagine a lawyer who begins as a junior associate in litigation. After a few years, she moves in house to a pharmaceutical company. A decade later, she becomes general counsel. Looking back, she says, my career trajectory has been focused on health law and corporate compliance. Why is this phrase important? Because it helps you frame your story. Employers, clients, and colleagues want to know not only where you are, but also how you got there and where you're going. You'll hear key phrases like professional career trajectory, shaping one's career trajectory, predicting a career trajectory. In legal English, this term elevates your ability to describe your professional development. Instead of simply listing jobs, you present your career as a clear, purposeful journey. In international conversations, lawyers often need to explain comparative roles, how legal positions in one system align with or differ from those in another. Imagine a panel at a global law conference. A U.S. lawyer introduces herself as a trial lawyer, while the English lawyer explains that she is a barrister. To make things clear, they describe their comparative roles. The U.S. lawyer says, I represent clients directly in court, handling both client management and advocacy. The English barrister adds, in our system, solicitors manage clients, while barristers focus exclusively on courtroom advocacy. This kind of explanation shows awareness of comparative roles, an essential skill in cross border practice. You'll hear phrases such as discuss comparative roles across common law systems, or explain comparative roles at international conferences. This phrase helps you avoid confusion and present your career clearly, especially when speaking with colleagues trained in different jurisdictions. When lawyers discuss their careers, they often speak about the future. Future forms in English give you the tools to describe both plans and possibilities. Let's imagine you're at a networking event. One lawyer says, I will apply for the partner track next year. Another explains, I'm going to specialize in arbitration because that's where demand is growing. A third adds, I might move in house if the right opportunity comes. Notice the difference. Will expresses firm decisions. Going to signals intention or preparation. Might shows possibility without commitment. Plan to demonstrates strategic foresight. In professional English, using the right form communicates not only your ambitions, but also your level of certainty. For lawyers, this grammar matters. It shows whether your career move is definite, intended, or just under consideration. It's the difference between sounding confident, prepared, or flexible. When discussing career options, lawyers often need to compare paths. Comparative structures make these comparisons clear. Imagine two colleagues debating career moves. One says, working in house is more stable than private practice. Another replies, but the partner track is more competitive than an academic career, and that challenge appeals to me. And third adds, in England, becoming a barrister is more difficult than qualifying as a solicitor. The comparative forms, more stable than, more competitive than, harder than, allow you to explain your reasoning. Why does this matter for legal English? Because international conversations often involve comparing systems and roles. With comparatives, you can justify your choices and show professional judgment. So, key patterns to use: more plus the adjective plus than, or the adjective plus er. Mastering these forms lets you evaluate roles persuasively, whether in an interview, a networking event, or a comparative law discussion. When you discuss your career path, sometimes it's not enough to say what you might do. You want to emphasize what matters most. Emphatic structures allow you to do this with clarity and strength. Imagine a lawyer in an interview. She doesn't just say, I want to specialize in arbitration. And instead, she emphasizes, what I really want is to specialize in international arbitration. Another lawyer reflects on his training. It was during my clerkship that I decided to pursue litigation. This structure, it was that, highlights the decisive moments in his career. Other emphatic forms like do remember or I do intend add intensity without raising your voice. They show confidence and commitment. For advanced legal English, these structures are powerful tools. They allow you to present your career not just as a possibility, but as a determined plan, the kind of language that convinces interviewers, mentors, and colleagues of your seriousness. In law, careers are often described as ladders. When someone says they want to climb the ladder, they mean they want to advance step by step, from junior positions to senior leadership. Imagine a lawyer in a large New York firm. She begins as a junior associate, then becomes a senior associate, then a partner. Looking back, she says, I climbed the ladder in corporate law. This phrase captures ambition and progression. It's commonly used when describing steady advancement, especially in structured environments like large law firms. Key phrases you'll hear are climb the corporate ladder, climb the legal ladder, slowly climb the ladder of success. For advanced legal English, this phrase is powerful when networking or interviewing. It signals that you understand how career growth is commonly described in English. Not every lawyer wants to climb the corporate ladder. Some prefer to become experts in a very specific area. In English, we call this carving out a niche. Imagine a solicitor who works in a broad commercial practice. Over time, she develops deep expertise in renewable energy projects. Eventually, clients know her as the go to lawyer for wind and solar contracts. She explains, I carved out a niche in energy law. This idiom conveys specialization and independence. It shows that instead of following the general path, you created your own space in the profession. You'll hear common phrases such as carve out a niche in arbitration, carve out a niche as a regulatory specialist, successfully carved out a niche in human rights litigation. This phrase helps you highlight your unique value, a useful way to stand out in interviews, networking, or client meetings. Sometimes a legal career isn't a straight climb upward. It's about changing gears. This idiom means shifting direction, taking on a new focus, or even making a significant career change. Imagine a barrister who spends a decade in criminal defense. She decides she wants more stability and moves into academia, teaching criminal procedure. She explains, I changed gears and became a lecturer after years in court. Another example, a litigator who transitions into corporate compliance or an in house counsel role. You'll hear phrases such as change gears professionally, change gears into arbitration, decide to change gears mid career. This idiom is practical. It helps you explain career transitions, not as failures, but as strategic moves that show flexibility and growth. When lawyers excel in their field, colleagues may say they are at the top of their game. This idiom means reaching the highest level of skill, performance, and recognition. Imagine a partner at a leading international law firm. She manages global clients, publishes articles in respected journals, and is frequently invited to speak at conferences. A colleague remarks she's at the top of her game in international arbitration. This idiom emphasizes expertise, achievement, and authority. It's not just about seniority, it's about being recognized as one of the best. You'll hear phrases such as stay at the top of your game, reach the top of your game, or remain at the top of your game. Now, this phrase is useful in interviews, networking, and career discussions. It highlights professional success and positions you as a serious legal practitioner. Let's look at four technical phrases that lawyers use when describing their career paths. The first is career progression. This refers to the structured advancement through different levels of responsibility. Imagine a lawyer who starts as a junior associate, becomes a senior associate, and then makes partner. She explains her story in English by saying, my career progression was steady, and within 12 years, I was promoted to equity partner. Using this phrase shows not just what you do, but the upward movement of your career. The second phrase is professional development plan. Many firms and organizations now use these plans to support lawyers' growth. For example, a firm might say each associate is given a professional development plan to guide their training, client exposure, and specialization. In English, this phrase signals structure and foresight. It shows that the career growth is not accidental, it's intentional and guided. Third, we have transferable skills. These are abilities you gain in one role that can be applied in another. For example, a litigator might say, the advocacy and negotiation skills I developed in court are transferable skills that help me succeed in arbitration. This phrase is very common in international contexts, where lawyers often move between practice areas, firms, or even jurisdictions. Finally, dual qualification is a phrase especially important in global practice. It means holding admission to the bar in two or more jurisdictions. For example, a lawyer might explain, I am duly qualified. For instance, a lawyer might explain, I am qualified in both England and New York, which allows me to advise clients on cross-border mergers and disputes. This phrase demonstrates international mobility and adds prestige to a career profile. Together, these four phrases allow you to present your career not just as a list of jobs, but as a structured, intentional, and internationally relevant journey. They are precise, professional tools that advanced lawyers use when speaking about their careers in English. Let's bring all the vocabulary, grammars, idioms, and legal phrases together in a real-world career scenario. Two lawyers graduate from the same university. At first, their path looks similar, but they soon diverge. First lawyer joins a prestigious law firm as an associate. She spends years developing her practice, always focused on climbing the ladder toward partnership. She explains, my career progression has been steady. I will apply for the partner track next year, and I plan to specialize in corporate transactions. Her ambition is clear, and her language shows confidence. The second lawyer starts in litigation, but decides to change gears after a few years. He moves into arbitration, then later transitions into an international in-house role. His transferable skills, advocacy, negotiation, and cross-border analysis make the shift possible. He tells colleagues, I carved out a niche in international arbitration, and later, my dual qualification in England and New York allowed me to advise multinational clients. Both careers are successful, but they are described differently. One emphasizes structured career progression and ambition to reach the top of her game in private practice. The other highlights flexibility, professional development plans, and the ability to adapt through transferable skills and dual qualification. This story shows why precise legal English matters. Whether you want to show determination, ambition, or adaptability, the language you choose paints the picture of your career path, not just for yourself, but for every colleague, client, and employer who listens. Let's review what we covered today. You began by learning advanced vocabulary for legal roles, from associate and in-house counsel to general counsel, barrister, and solicitor, and practice describing your career trajectory and comparative roles across jurisdictions. You then strengthened your grammar for career conversations. We used future forms to describe ambitions, comparatives to evaluate options, and emphatic structures to express determination with clarity. Next, you expanded your fluency with 4 idioms for ambition and growth. Climb the ladder, carve out a niche, change gears, and at the top of your game. We also explored precise professional phrases, career progression, professional development plan, transferable skills, and dual qualification. Tools for speaking confidently about your career in interviews, networking, and cross border practice. Finally, you applied everything in a career story, comparing 2 lawyers, one who pursued traditional partnership and another who changed gears, leveraged transferable skills, and built an international profile. This lesson shows you how to tell your career story in English with vocabulary, grammar, idioms, and phrases that reflect ambition, professionalism, and adaptability. If you want to practice this in real time with other lawyers and receive expert feedback, join our legal English community where lessons like this we have in live conversations. Click on the link below.